A reading from the Holy Gospel according to St. Luke. The angel Gabriel was sent from God to a town of Galilee called Nazareth, to a virgin betrothed to a man named Joseph of the house of David. And the virgin's name was Mary. And coming to her, he said, "Hail, full of grace, the Lord is with you." But Mary was greatly troubled at what was said and pondered what sort of greeting this might be. The angel said to her, "Do not be afraid, Mary. You have found favor with God." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise be to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Recently, a young girl was rushed to the hospital with a diagnosis of meningitis. And thanks to the prayers and the good medical care, the young girl recovered rather quickly and was well enough to be released from the hospital within a few days. And driving home, the mother cradled this little 3-year-old girl in her arms. And the little girl kept saying to the mother, "Hold me, Mommy. Hold me," even though her mother was holding her tight already. Hearing this simple story, I realized that when we call out to God, or to Mary for that matter, our prayers are part supplication. We're asking, "Comfort me, help me, show me, Mary." And they're part proclamation. "You comfort me, you help me, Mary." Aren't our cries to Mary then also professions of faith in her? Isn't that the very fact that we call out to Mary an indication that we place our lives in her hands? I read an article about a man who died of leukemia in his mid-40s, and he had a deep faith. He had a devoted love for his wife and daughters. He kept a journal which consisted of pages chronicling his journey of faith through this illness, and his prayers, and his moments of surrender. One entry in his journal stated, "The simple childlike repetitions of the names of Jesus and Mary can work real miracles for us." Let me say that again. The simple childlike repetitions of the names of Jesus and Mary can work real miracles in us. At the top of a page near the end of the journal, he wrote, "October 1991. Chip's Novena Prayer to Mary, composed one sleepless night. Praise be Jesus and Mary of a Virgin." And then the rest of the entry was his personal litany, which consisted of 75 3-word prayers, written one underneath the other. "Help me, Mary. Hold me, Mary. Protect me, Mary. Warm me, Mary. Cool me, Mary. Heal me, Mary. Use me, Mary. Cradle me, Mary. Take me, Mary. Hear me, Mary. Humble me, Mary. Hold me, Mary." When St. John Paul II preached his first homily in St. Peter's Square in 1978, his first words were, "Do not be afraid." In 1993, almost 20 years later, when he was publishing his book, Crossing the Threshold of Hope, he repeated those words, "Do not be afraid." This was after having survived an attempt on his life and serious illness, after having watched the downfall of communism and escalating persecution of the church in other parts of the world, And after having seen increased threats to human life and dignity, he began and ended this book on the threshold of hope with reflections on those very words. Do not be afraid. I think these words are sacred biblical counsel. They're wise advice. We hear in the gospel today that I read an angel telling Mary at the Annunciation, and then the shepherds at the birth of Jesus, do not be afraid. Joseph was told in a dream, do not be afraid to take Mary as your wife into your home. An angel told the women in the tomb, do not be afraid. Jesus said to his disciples, do not fear, little flock. Do not let your hearts be troubled. At a critical time and troubled time in his ministry, Paul received a vision of the Lord who said to him, do not be afraid. Go on speaking and do not be silent, for I am with you. As St. John began the book Revelation, he recounted how he saw Christ in glory who said, do not be afraid. I am the first and the last, the one who lives. The holy witnesses of the Bible clung to God's promises and therefore grew in faith. Their cries were acts of faith. They were proclamations of God's loving kindness. And even as they spoke their cries, they knew they were safely in God's arms. The one upon whom they called was near, and there was no reason to be afraid. So in the course of our day, we have these unceasing opportunities, these countless moments in which we can call upon Mary, like the man who was dying of leukemia and wrote 3-word phrases. Guide me, Mary. Give me strength, Mary. Show me, Mary. Or even, I love you, Mary. Calling upon her, we proclaim our faith in her saving love. And the duties of our day, as hectic or as lonely or as challenging as they might be, because of our little proclamation of faith, transforms those duties, those challenges, by her helping us to see Christ present. Gradually, we begin to realize that the very reason we were led to call out her name in the first place was that she would show us Jesus. So what's my advice to you? First and foremost, pray always. That's what St. Alphonsus would say. Even when you don't feel like praying, force yourself to pray. And secondly, do not be afraid.